Hi.
Today I'm going to be interviewing Burt. My name is Candise, and this is kind of a spontaneous interview. We just thought it could be fun to get a few things covered very casually. So what I've been thinking about lately is how do I become more silent in my life without going into a closet? How do I find silence in my everyday?
Mm-hmm. Good. Okay, let's talk because that's a very important one. One of the things that I found that really makes a difference is not practicing meditation or trying to quiet my mind, although watching your breath is very important. What I found most effective is keeping in mind that I am not this physical, mental being that I think I am. I am really spirit. Let me go into a little bit more elaborate here, and then we'll get to the point. Someone asked me, they said, Burt, you talk about the Big Bang, sometimes you mention that. Fine, that's when consciousness came and human beings were brought about. They said, but what was beyond the Big Bang? What was before that? You see, so what would you say?
I don't know.
Because there must have been something, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
In order to produce the Big Bang in the first
Right.
place, like something. So we can say it is the infinite.
Right.
Okay. It has no way to describe it, being, but the
Yeah.
infinite. Okay. So therefore, because if you say, okay, it's the infinite, and when did the infinite start? Now, what would you say to that?
There was no start.
There is no start. Beautiful, you see? Because even if it had a start, well, who started that? Okay? So as you go into the infinite, and I'm getting to the point of your question here,
Yeah.
okay, is that as you go into the infinite, you find that everything is infinite. Everything. Now, the thing is that the infinite, we can put it this way, because I used to ask myself, what was it that made us be born human? Because after all, it is the infinite that chose to be born human.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can take the infinite as a oneness,
Mm-hmm.
an isness, okay? I like to call it pure awareness, pure being. It's just pure. So in that particular case, it is, but it doesn't know itself, it doesn't understand itself yet. It just is. It is joy, it is heavenly, it is okay,
Mm-hmm.
complete within itself, but it wanted to experience,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And this experience came out in the form of consciousness. And consciousness always creates time and space, because to be conscious of something creates an outside form. Like, for example, okay, my eyes see, and I am isness, I am infinite, my eyes see. But then it comes a point where I want to see my eyes, see, you know what I mean? So I need a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Got it?
Right.
So I create something outside of me for me to create something to look at. It's a duality, in other words. So duality was created, and this is how the human being has been created. Now the question comes, when was matter first created? When did creation take place? Was it after the Big Bang, or? And that's another question of infinity too. Because then we come to the point that scientists are coming to the point now, is that matter itself doesn't really exist at all. We're sitting on a chair, I have a body, but at the same time, Scientists have discovered, all realized masters, and even I have realized it, that matter is energy. Energy appearing real. So it is consciousness that is appearing as a form in order for us to work through that form. What the trouble with happens in duality is that we identify so much with the form that we forget the oneness. Like, one time I had a beautiful realization, and it did repeat itself, but I was often asked, well, how can I see our oneness when I'm in a class, you know, when I'm with other people, because I see the people there, and I see myself, and there's a space in between. It's a space. There's nothing there, okay? Well, one day during satsang, I saw the people all connected electromagnetically. And I never forgot that. And I saw it so clearly. It didn't last long, but it was enough to prove to me that we are all connected, but we're not aware of this electromagnetic energy that creates the human form itself, that creates everything.
Right.
You see, the reason I am speaking is because it's coming from a thought process. The thought is electromagnetic. My voice listens to the electromagnetic portion and puts it in words.
Right.
And then you translate it and with your own perspective of what you think I am saying, according to your own intelligence and level of understanding. You see? But it's all a perspective.
Yes,
okay?
Yes.
Right. The perspective means that it is very, very individual. The more we expose ourselves to something more than just being a human form, but a spirit, the more we begin to understand subtleties intuitively. Because there's another thing too. We base everything on our mind, but you know, the very intelligence of our mind is really in our heart. And our heart understands things that the mind can never understand, because the mind is linear. Well, I'm pointing to the brain here, okay? The mind is linear, and the heart is not. So the heart is. And even though it's a physical heart itself, yet it has that energy. You see, that is so beautiful to know. I learned more, like, because people used to ask, well, okay, you talk about, like Ramana Maharshi and all the teachers say, listen to your heart. Are you talking metaphorically? Are you talking about spiritually? Or are you talking to the physical heart? Well, both.
Yes, I hear that, because the times that I've spent, you know, by myself, I've heard the most, and that's from my heart speaking.
That's right.
And so that is the time when I find the most clarity.
That's right.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
You see?
Listening to that.
So this is when we're getting back to that silence at the same time, you see? So I'm starting a long way around, but we're getting to it.
Yes.
So it is not what you do so much. There are many techniques, there are many ways, and what happens when you teach a technique to a person, they try to do the technique properly, and by doing that, they're missing the heart.
Right, they're
See,
focused on the technique.
They're focused on the technique. You see, it's the same with breathing. Now, when you watch your breath, it's very conducive to quieting the mind, very much. You watch the breath, and you find that you start controlling it. But after a while, as you become aware that you're controlling it, you say, no, breathing happens whether I control it or not. So I watch the happening by itself. And as you begin to watch the happening by itself, okay, this is when you start moving into the heart. So in a way, the breath can lead you there. But that means if you get caught in the technique of breathing properly, or how you breathe, then you lose the point.
Right.
Okay. But the heart is that feeling, knowing, you know, that you are more than just a form. And everything that you experience, because once you realize that you are the heart, the center energy, you know, then you're one with everything and with everyone. And then you begin to understand what love is. You see? And then you begin to understand how we are all interconnected, interdependent, interrelated. And so that's what we call love, harmony, etc., etc. This is when we begin to realize the power of perspective. If I see somebody doing something, quote, wrong, immediately my mind made it wrong.
Right.
Okay?
Judgment.
And I make a judgment. Then I'm basing all my actions and thoughts from that judgment. But if I don't see wrong, I see only merely unawareness, ignorance. It's a different perspective.
Right.
You see?
Like, oh, the kid doesn't know.
That's right.
He-
That's
yeah.
right. He did what he did because he wanted love, he wanted attention.
Yes, yeah.
Right. But if you
Yeah.
make him wrong, immediately he's a bad boy.
He's a bad
See,
boy. And he
that's-
feels it. And
He feels
you
it.
act out of it.
Exactly.
And then it creates a spiral because both of you start.
That's the whole point, this
Yes.
spiraling.
Mhm.
So the word perspective is most important here. You see, we see according to how we feel. And if you become totally conscious of you as a person, then you start seeing things in perspective of that person as compared to another person.
I see.
You see, in the same way, if we place too much importance of what to wear, how much makeup to put on, how good you should look, which is okay. But if you place too much importance on that, you'll automatically begin to isolate yourself
Yes.
and create a rift.
Mhm.
You see, because you compare. So, but if you become aware of that comparison, then you can go beyond it.
Right.
Okay? Because I'm not saying that you shouldn't
Yeah.
do anything. I'm not talking about
Yeah.
that. It's what you pay attention to.
Right.
Okay. Now, our perspective, our way of seeing things is according to how much caught we are in the person you think you are. And the less caught in it, the more you see that you are an energy, a beautiful energy, God in disguise.
Mhm.
Okay, really, you are God in disguise. The moment you see that, then there's an unfolding, because not only are you open in the way of looking at things, but you also see that the other person is just as valid as you are. And that becomes love. And even if they don't understand, you see, if they're open to learning, it doesn't matter how unaware they are. If they're open to understanding, the Holy Spirit in you who's talking begins to find ways in which it reaches that person's heart.
I see, yeah.
You see?
Mhm.
Because that person is open to you. So it's a matter of opening. And opening is simply saying, I am here, and what is happening here is most important. And I'm open to here, to this moment. So let's go back to your question, how to find that silence within you. This is how. You see? What I normally do, if many things start happening like they did this morning, with everything, I sit down immediately and I says, I'll take a couple of deep breaths. And just look, and just be. And that being is enough. Because any thoughts that enter my mind are just part of
Your perception?
my perception.
Right.
Right. But if at that moment I take a deep breath, exhale completely, let go and just be.
So
Okay?
that could be really helpful when you're in a group setting and you're feeling maybe a little bit anxious or separated, or you're not sure what to do. If you take those deep breaths and understand that you're not separate and that you are
That's right.
one, then
Yeah.
you stop judging. You start judging yourself, and you stop judging
The main
others.
thing is to stop judging yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's when you start judging others and everything else.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you can start relaxing and enjoying.
And enjoying. The moment you relax, you enjoy, because the word enjoy comes from the word joy. Joy is being. Joy is pure awareness. Love is pure awareness. Happiness is pure awareness.
Mm-hmm.
You see? All these mean the same thing. They're just an isness of being, which you are. The moment you stop competing, judging, trying so hard to do this right, to do that, you see? The moment you relax
Right.
into that moment, you start listening.
that was going to be my second question, was how do we experience that joy that we all want through silence?
Because silence itself is joy.
So
when you're totally silent, some people says, but I'm quiet and I don't feel joy. No, you're not quiet.
No, because your mind is going a million
It's
miles
going,
now.
but you're not aware of it because it's so conditioned.
Yes.
Joy is the very nature of being quiet, being still.
Yes.
Stillness is not bringing things to a stop.
Right.
You see, you can be very active and still be still. You know, when a child is playing ball and he's having a ball, I mean, he's having so much fun, you know, at that moment, he is still.
Right.
His spirit is still. You know, there's no ego in it. He's just one with what is taking place.
Yeah.
It's just like an artist creating, or a musician coming up with a beautiful composition, or writing a poem, and it starts coming alive in you, and at that moment of aliveness, what is it? It is the heart open.
So it's like becoming a child again.
Becoming a child again. It's
With
innocence.
More, innocence with
Yeah,
more awareness.
That's right. Yeah, I was reading a while ago too, which was very good. Of course, I knew that, but the point is seeing it was very beautiful too. And in the disappearance of the universe, and it said that the very I missed the point now. The very point of just being still, is the very innocence of your heart. And if you want to know what it means to love yourself, it means to know that you are innocent. You see, and when you know that you are innocent, you know that you are love. You see, that's self-forgiveness, incidentally. You forgive yourself when you realize you are innocent. You know, when we went to see this man, I won't mention his name, okay?
Yeah.
I didn't put a light around me. And then when I looked at him, I had a little bit of a shock, okay? And I didn't realize how far gone he was. But mostly was the fact that even when he was talking, he wasn't very clear, almost like he's entering into what is called when the mind deteriorates.
Oh, dementia?
Dementia, yeah. And I felt that he was entering dementia, and I felt the Holy Spirit telling me that, Bert, you're trying to reach him, because I tried even touching him with my thoughts, to reach him, and I there was something there that probably he got out of it, but when I finished and we left, I wasn't happy. Okay, I wasn't feeling good. This is very rare with me. Usually when I'm with a client or somebody, I feel really good after, and I didn't feel good. And then I saw it that I received a little bit of a psychic attack. Did you understand?
Why?
Because I didn't put a light around me. And I wanted so much to reach him that for a moment I became part of him. I was holding his hands and everything else. Yeah. And I took part of him into myself. And so when we left, my energy was a little low. And then when I went home, immediately I saw my innocence, because I meant well in whatever I did. See, and when I did that, the love for myself was strong again. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so this is another thing too, that if you say you want to be silent, okay, always, wherever you go, even when you're going to a yoga class, okay, before you are among people, because you never know who's going to be there, their thoughts, their feelings and everything else, always put a light around you, okay, and it's a beautiful protection.
And how do you...
Yeah, take a deep breath and picture a light around you, you see, and you are encased in this beautiful light, and when you do that, then whatever comes from you will be the beautiful self, the innocent self. And we're always giving to each other, whether we realize it or not. People don't understand that. You know, some people, when they start feeling sorry for themselves, they become very needy. They come on to you because they want you to solve their problem. They not realize that by doing that, they are giving you a psychic attack, unless you protect yourself, unless you put a light around you. See, in hypnotherapy, I always did that. But sometimes it happens when I am not guarded. I'm not talking about being
Yeah,
guarded.
because there could be a confusion between separating yourself or guarding yourself, but what you mean is just holding the space of innocence.
Holding the space of innocence,
and
yeah.
within that light is just maintaining that innocence for you.
Right.
So when you are in the presence of other people, then that is what is radiating. It's not
Perfect.
a shield.
That's
where
right.
people can't, still talk with you, interact with you, and you can't interact with them. You can. It's just, it will only be from innocence.
From innocence. Another thing that takes away our innocence too is when we play teacher or play an enlightened being or play I am more aware than you.
Mm-hmm.
You see? And then somebody says, could you talk to them? Because if they listen to you, they'll feel better. And so you go out with the idea of trying to control them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That also is not conducive to innocence.
Mm-hmm.
So, in other words, the reason I'm saying this is because it can happen to anybody, you see. And it's important to maintain that innocence all the time. I am innocent, I am innocent, I am pure, I am here, I am joy, you see. And as you do that, that's what you start emanating, and that what starts to come from you. And that's exactly what I meant when I said there is nothing wrong, okay? Because the person who looks at life with love, he sees nothing wrong. He sees only ignorance, or if somebody is destroying someone or hurting someone. You see, when someone do you know that when someone hurts another, are they doing it because they're evil, or are they doing because they feel good in doing so to get even?
They're feeling good.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Crazy as it may seem, you see? So initially there is no wrong, there is only unawareness, because we're always wanting love, and if I don't get my love, I'm going to try my best to get people's attention my way, even if I have to scream or yell or be angry, which of course doesn't work, because I'm thinking in terms of wrong.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so that cleared the question about, tell me how you have felt, the silence now, to enter silence.
Well, I like the idea of putting the light around myself.
Yeah, and also taking a deep breath, because it brings you to the moment,
and recognizing that I'm not separate than anybody else, and that we are just oneness, because then that takes away the judging.
That's right.
And it's so easy to get caught in the perception.
Yes.
And that's when, my mind can it feels like it loses control. Like the tongue starts talking, and then next thing you know, you're thinking, God, I just wasted an hour.
Right. Right.
But if I can, when that does happen, forgive myself and look at myself as innocence, then it just, it's a growing point. Or I can, just start with that awareness.
That's right. That's it.
And
beautiful.
Then it's just pure, and then it's joy, and then it's fun all the time.
So you got it then, eh?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we can stop it here and call it entering silence.